Hi, my name's Adam Anthony, and I'm a math instructor here at Butler Community College, and I want to talk a little bit about test anxiety, particularly math test anxiety. To me, and in my experience, test anxiety breaks down into three things. The first being math anxiety, being underprepared, and then the time pressure of the test. I'd like to go through each of these and kind of talk a little bit about how you can prepare yourself to deal with these factors. So first off, math anxiety. The first thing I want to tell you about math anxiety is that it's an emotional response to mathematics. Right? It is not an intellectual thing. Perhaps you've had bad experiences in mathematics in the past. Perhaps you had, unfortunately, a poor teacher in mathematics, and you have the mindset of not being good at math. It has nothing to do with your intellectual capacity to do mathematics. And so I might suggest that you try to, anytime that your mind kind of criticizes yourself when you're dealing with mathematics, to tack on the word yet or not yet. For example, people will say, I'm not good at math, or I'm terrible at math, or I'm not very good at math, and you just tack on the word yet to that. I'm not very good at math yet, right? You have the capacity to grow in mathematics, no matter how old you are or where you are in mathematics, and trying to change your attitude towards mathematics is important to getting out of this test anxiety rut. Another thing that I see in students is that they come unprepared for tests. Also not an intellectual thing, it's a preparedness thing. Mathematics, relative to other disciplines, has very clear-cut objectives. And heading into a test, it's, rather straightforward to take the objectives and break them down into the particular activities or exercises that you'll be asked to perform on a test. So let's write that down. So you want to break down objectives. Once you've done that, practice. And I mean practice each one. It's usually, each book has many examples of the various topics that you'll cover in a test. Do those. Often the answers to the odd questions are in the back. So you have resources, and of course the internet is just, there's hundreds of thousands of exercises for any math objective that you're looking at. Practice those. Practice those until you're comfortable with it. Right? And finally, I want to talk a little bit about time pressure. When you're doing homework, there's really no time pressure on you. You are, you basically, I don't want to say you have all the time in the world, but there's no clock on you that says at this point you cannot stop working, and whatever you have done you'll be graded on. Right? The test time pressure is very large. You're sitting in a classroom, it might be noisy, and then you have an hour to do a test, or 50 minutes. Right? That's stressful, right? And it really puts the question to you, right, as to whether you can do this in that time frame. So, to prepare yourself for that, I would suggest when you have practiced, right, create a test for yourself. Go look for a test. Some books have tests in the back, or just take a few review assignments, put them all together, and then give yourself a time limit to do it. You want to mimic the environment of the test as much as possible before you go in there. If you can study in the room that you're going to take the test in, or somewhere close to that, that might also help. So we want to mimic the test environment. And that means time yourself. All right. Well, I hope that helps a little bit with test anxiety. So, math anxiety, it's not intellectual. Change your mind about that. Being underprepared, well, take those objectives and break them down, find new ones. And time pressure, mimic the test environment as much as possible. Thank you.